Hey guys, I just wanted to do a follow-up video, and today this is a video, not just doing a follow-up on the Hori battle pad for the Nintendo Switch here. I know it's a little bit long overdue, but I also have another controller here that I want to be comparing and looking at, and it's the Power A Bluetooth Switch controller. And I'm going to be doing, just showing you how these both play, why I like one better than the other one, and then since we're already here, I want to do a video on some other couple of Switch controllers. So I want to be taking a look at the SN30 Pro by 8-Bit Dough. This is the newer model that came out that works with the Switch. This is the classic N30 Pro that came out for the Switch a long time ago, and USB. And then also we have the classic NES Online controller that was just released last month by Nintendo. So let's start off with the Hori battle pad. Now, as I said before in the other video, this is pretty cool. The red light. Okay, so this has a feature where you can swap the shoulder buttons, because for some reason what Hori has done is right here they switched to L and R. So L and R is actually in the back, and then the Z buttons are in the front, which is strange because if you look at the other buttons, the Z, well, you can't really see here, but the R button and the L button is actually on the top, and the Z's is in the back. So I guess what they did the reason they did that was because the original Gamecube had the Z buttons in the front. However, this is not a Gamecube, and so the Switch buttons are obviously reverse, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's for the Switch, it's not for the Gamecube. So the buttons aren't going to be mapped accordingly, not by how the Gamecube had it set up. So here's the thing: when you plug the USB into the Nintendo Switch, it doesn't recognize as a classic GameCube controller, it recognizes as a Switch Pro controller. So in order to get these two buttons mapped without having to go into the menu and switching it yourself, you'll actually have to, as you're plugging the USB in, you hold these two buttons down, then plug the USB in. So when you hold these two down, ZL and ZR, you hold it down, you plug the USB while holding these two buttons down, and when the light goes on red, it switches the functions of the button. So now your shoulder buttons are grab, and your back button is shield. Now, how does this play? It actually plays really good. It works perfectly. It works flawlessly. It's accurate. It's responsive. There's really very little delayed time, and the reason that is because number one, it's a wired control, so the input lag is not going to be so bad. The D-pad is actually very large compared to the original GameCube controller, so it's more, it's easier to press, even though on this game it really only does taunts. It has a turbo button in the center that you're never going to use, so forget about that turbo button. And then it also has the screenshot on the left and the home button on the right. So I like these buttons. This controller has a textured grip. You can't really see it on the camera, but on the bottom it has like this textured grip. It's very light. There is no rumble on this controller, but it feels great in your hands. It doesn't feel like a cheap controller. It's obviously lighter than the GameCube controller, but I honestly like this controller better than the GameCube controller, and I'll tell you why. Before I get into that, we'll start now with the Power A Bluetooth wireless controller. Now this one is heavier. It's heavier than the Hori, but that's because it uses two AA batteries. So yes, you do need two AA batteries. I didn't really like that at first, but apparently this has a lot of battery life and it lasts a very long time. So you don't have to worry about your batteries dying too much. This control is actually smaller than the Hori. I'm not really sure if we'll do a size comparison, but it's a slightly smaller controller. It's a little bit shorter. The C-Stick, I like this C-Stick better on the Power A. It's a little thicker and heavier, and it feels, it feels heavier. The Power A is clickier. I don't know if you can hear that. It's got a louder click to it. One thing that I don't really like about this controller, now I love the gold color. The gold color is actually the GameStop exclusive, but let me tell you something that I don't like about this controller. The shoulder buttons are very large. What I like about the Hori buttons is that they're short. They're like closer to the, to the actual pad, and they're easy to press. On the Power A, they're a little clickier and a little bit, more solid. So when you want to do a shield, it's a quick short press. On the Power A, it feels like you have to press and slam on it a little bit harder to actually get it to click. Now, that's pretty much it for the GameCube controllers. I highly recommend the Hori wired controller. It's cheaper, it's more comfortable, and I think it plays better. I like the buttons on this one better. This one is a little heavier if you like heavy controls. It is wireless, but it does take AA batteries. The C-stick is better, but the buttons are clickier, which means it's going to take a little bit more effort to hit those buttons. If you slam on it, and that was the thing that I was talking about, the original GameCube controller, I played it at a friend's house with the adapter, and I was just turned off right away because it felt like you had to slam so hard on the buttons, on the top buttons. I guess I got used to these soft, short press buttons that it's, you know, easier for me to control. So that's it for the GameCube controllers. What I wanted to do now is I wanted to show you the 8-bit SN30 Pro. This controller I love. Okay, now this controller you're gonna want to use for games that are not Super Smash Brothers. I highly don't recommend use it for Smash Brothers because the button layout is weird. I guess if you're used to playing Smash on the Pro controller, it's fine, but to me it was very awkward and uncomfortable to play Smash with this game. So for Switch mode, all you do is you press and hold Y and start at the same time. The buttons on the bottom will blink. It'll search, and now it's connected. So it's player 3 now. This control is pretty cool. So it does feature 2 analog sticks. It does have rumble, but it does not have HD rumble, which to me honestly doesn't really matter because rumble is rumble. Just because it doesn't rumble on sensitive or intense settings doesn't really make a difference. It rumbles it or it doesn't. That's a luxury. This one is modeled after the Game Boy Color variant. It's purple and gray like the original Game Boy in the US. It even has textured buttons on the D-pad just like the Game Boy. It uses USB 3.0, so it's updated. Here's your sync button, and it also has your 2 shoulder buttons for, you know, if you want to play I guess FPS games. The controller also has instructions in the back for different settings. If you want to play this game on the Switch, let's see what else it has here. The Mac OS direct input, I guess it's, you know, for PC and stuff and Android. So that's a pretty cool controller. Very comfortable. It looks like it'll unsync for a minute. So that's pretty cool. I guess the battery died on this controller. I'll recharge it later. But we'll do the same thing for the N30 Pro. Same thing, you press and hold. It'll sync on top. Battery's also dead on that one, so that's fine. They work absolutely fine. So here's the next controller. We're gonna do the Nintendo Online controller. It's very simple. You just press the start button. And I guess I have too many controllers plugged in. So let's try again. So yeah, you have too many controllers plugged in, it won't work. Now let's take off the GameCube controller and do the N30 Pro. This one actually takes a little bit longer to sync, which I don't really like too much. So now this one's working. And as you can see, the N30 Pro is actually showing up as a Pro controller because this is a 8-bit third party. So the so we're looking at the Genesis. Now this one doesn't really work too well with the not all the games on the Genesis because obviously this is a 2-button controller, but it does work with most games. You can play obviously Sonic the Hedgehog works fine with the 2-button press. But we'll go actually look at the, let's actually look at the Nintendo Online. So when you actually have the Nintendo Online controller plugged into the Switch and you're running the program, it actually changes the sound effects of the games on the screen. So instead of your natural, you know, whatever, it actually sounds like an NES all the way through. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I actually love this controller for the NES Online. It runs really great. You don't really get a lot of there's really almost no input lag, and the reason I can tell the input lag is really low is because games like Super Mario Brothers, that's my #1 test. I love to speed run through Super Mario Brothers, and I can tell you right away if there's input lag because I'll start missing certain jumps. So I can tell right away if there's too much input lag, and it's just going to start driving me crazy. I won't even play the game, and that's the issue I had with the Sega Genesis Classics. It was too laggy. But there you go, guys. I know this video ran a little bit long, but I wanted to show you more than just one controller. And my SN30 Pro, the battery needs to be changed, but it pretty much runs exactly. It's exactly the same as the 8-bit SN30 Pro, with the exception of the fact that it doesn't have the SN30 doesn't have rumble, and it only has 2 trigger buttons. This was obviously the updated model. Highly recommend you get this on Amazon. I bought mine with a case for $45. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.